Right. So now that the recording's going, this is the official welcome to the advanced cohort for the S.O.A.R business and entrepreneurship. So right now we're going to kick things off. There's the Mentimeter, so we're going to go through that and the way this Mentimeter is structured. This is just a pre-course kind of assessment, right? So ideally, you'll you might know some of this stuff, but if you don't, by the end of the cohort, we'll do the end of cohort assessment and see if you guys were able to expand and grow from where you started. So some of this you might have touched on a little bit, and a lot of this will go a lot deeper on. All right. Did everyone get it in the link in the chat? Let me know if anyone's having any trouble getting it. Should be 8 or 9 folks in here. All right. Right. Is that everybody? I think we're missing. Is anyone having trouble getting into the Mentimeter? Like I'm missing a few responses here. Let's see. Okay. All right. So blank is at the core of the brand voice and image. These should be value, even though these all showing X here. All right. One of the primary goals of blank communication is to persuade consumers or businesses by changing their perception of a brand, product, or service. All right. I think something might be up with this because they're all showing X's.
Yeah, it's not going to reveal any correct answers right now because it's the pretest, so it may show up
Okay.
as all being incorrect. Yeah.
Okay. So just going through it. Does the term entrepreneur mindset imply about an individual's approach to business and problem solving? Jaden, can you play over there, please? Define a growth mindset and provide an example of how it might manifest in an entrepreneur. List two of the four behavioral style methodology characteristics that are often seen in successful entrepreneurs. A good one. Mhm. All right. How does examining the cognition of entrepreneurs aid in understanding their motivation and approach towards business challenges? Right. How might an entrepreneur with a growth mindset approach failure differently than one with a fixed mindset? So, growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. How can they differ? What is cash flow? What are the three types of cash flow? Multi choice here. At least it should be. Is it letting you guys choose three, or is it just like letting you choose one?
It's only letting us choose one.
Okay, I'll take a screenshot. You could drop it in the chat. Uh, what are the three types? You could just drop it in the chat from the options here. Just drop the three types of cash flows as a chat in the Zoom, and we'll record it there. What do you use to measure cash flow? True or false? Investing is an ad investment is an asset acquired to generate income or appreciate in value. Sorry, to be an investment is in an asset acquired to generate income or appreciate in value. Cool. All right, what are 3 types of investments? All right, name 3 items in your credit report. 3 items that will show up in your credit report. Let me know if it's
It's only
It's
letting us
letting
pick
you
one.
pick one again.
okay. Drop it in the chat. The 3 items you'll pick from the list here. Is that everybody? How often can you get a free credit report? Right. What is the first step to improve your credit score? First step. Right. What is the primary purpose of instructional writing? Switching gears a little bit. Which type of business writing would be best for creating a company annual report? Which type of business writing will be best for creating a company annual report? If you wanted to convince someone to join a new environmental club at school, which writing style would you use? Which type of writing is primarily used in creating contracts and formal agreements? Choose the correct example that matches persuasive writing. Hiring managers will usually look at a resume for how long before making a decision? Hiring managers will usually look at a resume for how long? A nice spread here. Which is not considered a soft skill? Your career objectives describes what? Education and experience should be listed. So how should you write this out? Which selection would you list in work experience? Which of these would you put on under the work experience section? What type of brand language would Apple products be considered? Jaden. What type of brand language would the State Farm jingle be? Developing soft skills can improve your communication skills. True or false? All right. Thank you everyone for taking the time to complete that. I will switch over here. All right, so jumping into marketing and branding. So this is day one of advance. We're kicking it off with this. And as you saw in the Mentimeter, part of the topic here, since we're all from, I should take the slide out since it's everyone from the fundamentals, you guys already know me. So objectives that we have is basics of a brand, go over the basics of marketing. Shaden, stop right now. Creating a brand voice, creating a marketing strategy, launching a marketing campaign, tracking marketing effectiveness, scaling your marketing efforts. So yes, that is a lot. That's one of the reasons we expand this to 2 hours. And we're going to touch on these things But definitely similar to the fundamentals. There's going to be material in the Google class, which I'll share this now. There'll be material in here that you guys can look into and read up on to go deeper. And as always, ask questions. Definitely circle back on any questions you have as we go through. So I went to college for business. That like this was my major, was business administration, and I also did my master's in business with a concentration in marketing. So these are huge topics. So the goal isn't that you guys are going to be marketing geniuses or experts and brand experts at the end of this. It's really to get you guys introduced to it so you understand what it is. Hopefully you understand the concepts and you can start to use the concepts, right? Once you understand some of these basics, you can start using some of the concepts. One of the beautiful things about technology is it makes things a lot easier. Marketing used to be require a lot of manual pieces, and now there's technology that just makes a lot of it at your fingertips. So we'll talk about that too. So jumping right into it, little commercial here. You might know this brand. Oh, wait. Let me exit this presentation 1 second and yeah. All right, so all right, I'm gonna have to open up in another window. Sorry about that. Let's do go. So who's seen that commercial before? You could raise your hand or drop something in the chat. Has anyone seen that one? Or you could come up and this is our interactive time.
I haven't seen the commercial, but I was able to use it in Texas when I visited the Appleton Fair. So
Nice. That's pretty cool. So how did the commercial make you feel? Any reactions after watching the commercial? Any did it evoke any thoughts? You could come off
I
mute.
sorry. I was just gonna say that I thought that the commercial kind of balanced like the sense of like relatability and like family aspect, but also like how it could be helpful in your life too. Like they balance it well to like make a person want to get the item.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we got some balance between usability and right. What else? Any other thoughts?
it reminded me of like work-life balance, if that makes any sense. And like it was seemed fun to use.
Right. Did anyone learn something about the product during the commercial? Did you pick up on anything? Like how it works or how you would do an action on the product?
I thought an important aspect that they included, like watching it at first, it's like I kind of thought it was like a VR kind of headset. But the part that I liked was they included how it's like you could kind of see through it a little bit, so you could still kind of see what's going on. So I thought they used like the accessibility. They kind of like showed how that worked.
Yeah. So this is kind of like I use Apple for a couple of reasons. So we actually studied them in our master's program, and many programs study Apple because they are at one of the top marketing and advertising companies on the planet. But typically you want when you're communicating, whether it doesn't have to be a fancy commercial like this, but whatever you're communicating, right? Whether it's a Instagram post or a video, there should be some reactions, right? So here there was a mixture of education, and you probably have to watch it a few times, but they do showcase how the product works a little bit. They show people tapping their fingers to make selections and to move things around. So showing you like, okay, like this is hands-free. And they go into a little bit of, like you guys said, balance, right? So there's one part where there's maybe some work being done, and another part where people are just hanging out and relaxing. So when you think about your communication, yeah, you really got to think about, hey, what is it that I'm communicating? And the commercial was 1 minute and I guess 1 second, because then it goes into the next one. So a 1 minute commercial, similar to your elevator pitch, right? Your elevator pitch was pretty quick and you had to kind of land something, right? You have to make an impression. So with marketing, you're going beyond that you're going beyond the elevator pitch and you just focus on, hey, what do I need to communicate here? And you'll also notice Apple has, multiple commercials on the Vision Pro. They have videos that are longer. So they have a 9-minute video, 10-minute video that goes deeper into it. So marketing also has stages, right? So one word you got to write down is target marketing, right? So target marketing is a big topic, but specifically it refers to who are you targeting, right? And then after you answer the who question, you want to start to think about, okay, what do we want to target? Do we want to drive growth? Do we want to just make people aware of who we are? And what action do we want people to take? So whenever you market, um, you want to think about some of these things. Uh, Apple didn't explicitly say buy our Vision Pro, right? Because Apple's in a position where people were waiting for the Vision Pro. So it's like, well, here's our new product, right? So you always want to think of your position as well. So just an introduction to the power of a brand, right? And how you get that powerful as a brand. So it's a little small, so I'll read some of these off, but this is a list as of 2021, the most valuable brands in the world, right? So the top 5, Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Samsung, right? We've all heard of these brands. Walmart, Facebook. Um, do you guys think this list changed just since 2021, or do you feel it's relatively the same order, meaning like Apple, Amazon, Google in order as the top most valuable brands? You guys would take a yes. Raise your hand if you think the list changed, or drop an N in the chat if you think it's just about the same. Relatively the same thing to say. Okay. So a couple years after this, pretty much the same, right? Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Samsung, 2023, still the leading. But below them, some brands did shake up, right? Coca-Cola moved up a little bit. Coca-Cola wasn't even in the top here. Toyota was towards the bottom of the top 10. By 2023, Toyota kind of jumped up. So some brands lost value, some brands gained value um, in the 2 years that followed. But yeah, pretty much the top 5 is similar. Right now, though, there is a new player I should have done currently. NVIDIA, who makes a very powerful processor that powers AI. They're now in this list here. But so brand value. So this is literally looking at the brand and saying how much value does this company's brand have, right? So these companies, you also notice they're old companies. They've been around a long time, so it took a while to get here. So another thing that kind of speaks to the power of the brand is the recognition of the brand, right? The brand is not only the voice and the message, it's also the visual, right? And a lot of people focus on the logo, right? They're like, what's going to be my logo? I'm starting a business. What logo do I want, right? Um, so out of these logos, which one stands out to you the most? You could come off mute and just shout it out. Which one stands out the most to you?
Coke.
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola, yeah.
Okay. Any other ones? Anyone other brands stand out to anyone, or are we team team Coke tonight? Catherine said the Victoria's Secret logo. So what is it that about Coke that stands out to you? Is it the visual? Is it the experience? What are some of the reasons that makes Coke win for
I
you?
think the
Or
lettering is like different from everyone else's. It's like it's got like a what's that cursive type, and every like all the other ones are just like basic. You know what I mean?
mm, yeah, yeah. So visually, yeah, the color red is does draw, and the cursive is very unique. Yeah, out of all of these, I believe that's like a very refined look. Absolutely. Catherine put in the chat, is very visually appealing and implies elegance, which is what the designers aim to convey for Victoria's Secret. So the brand voice and image, right? We create this to have impact, right? To represent who the brand is, to kind of lead out, right? One of Nike's more prominent tags, right? Out of all these brands, I think Nike has one of the more prominent tags. Like they marketed this for years. Just do it, just do it, just do it. Um, but yeah, you want to connect with your target audience by creating personality, right? Brand voices can inspire, they could connect, influence, right? So these are some reasons, right? There's some examples of why you would want to create a brand voice. So in creating a brand voice, you're moving on from just a pitch, right? You're creating consistency, um, and you're honing in on your core value. So that was one of the reasons why in fundamentals, we we had you guys do the value proposition canvas and the business model canvas. Because you're gonna when you're doing your business and you're going to the next step, you're reflecting on those things as your foundation. So when you're thinking about, hey, what do I say on an Instagram post, on a LinkedIn post, on TikTok, wherever you're going to be engaging with your audience, what are you saying, right? And you ideally want to have something that's core to the business that you're repeating. It might sound crazy, but brands repeat themselves over and over again because they're focused on driving the message home consistently. And they also just want to be consistent in what they're saying. So Nike, Apple, Coke, all these major brands, they have a core message that they typically play into any marketing campaign they do. Um, does anyone remember well, you guys like Coke? I don't know how much Coke uses themes, but can you guys share like what's Coke's like I guess when you see their marketing or hear advertisement or see advertisement, what's the theme of Coke? What is it that they're trying to communicate with their brand? You can drop it in the chat or come off mute.
I think that they like try to promote like a familial aspect. Like in most of the ads, well, almost all the ads that I've seen for it, it's like they're outside at a barbecue or they're with their friends or family, and it's like it can like bring people together to like have a drink with them and stuff.
Yeah, that's good. My wife said she remembers a polar bear drinking Coke that had changed over time. That's Christmas Coke, the polar bear. But yeah, I mean, Aurora, you hit it on the head, right? They always convey like familiarity, people, gatherings, right? Like grab a Coke, right? They want it to be something that you're thinking belongs there each time. So they're influencing you in that way, right? I had a pretty dramatic build out here. All right, what about brand image, right? Your brand image should evoke some kind of emotion or feeling, right? Should be something people can react to. It should also display who you are at a glance. Now, easier said than done, right? Having an image, one image that evokes the emotion you want, that evokes the feeling you want, is not always simple. And also, like Coca-Cola, there's something called a word logo. So Coca-Cola focused on saying, hey, we're going to do a cursive and we're going to make it red. That's the logo, right? Where Nike went with the actual shape, right? And that's the logo. Would you guys be surprised to know that Nike's logo changed since they started? So Nike, this is the logo history of Nike, right? They didn't actually start with the swoosh. In 1964, they were actually Blue Ribbon Sports. That was a brand, right? It was a track and field coach that had a, a passion for sports and wanted to make a shoe that he felt would help athletes, right? So he literally like got a mold, a rubber mold, and I think he used a waffle iron and put rubber in it and then cut it out and like literally made his initial shoe, right? And he called it Blue Ribbon Sports. It wasn't until years later, almost a decade later, that they came up with the Nike brand. So I always point this out because I want you guys to understand that you don't have to put too much pressure in the beginning on having the perfect brand, right? The start is your passion. Get your customers, get your product going, get your product market fit, get some happy people that believe in what you're doing, what you're selling, right? And you can improve the brand later. Sometimes your forever brand image and voice comes a little bit later after you've been doing things for a few years, you figure some things out. And that's okay. But yeah, so they started with Blue Ribbon Sports, became Nike, and then the actual swoosh, 1978, that came from a student. So they didn't close the door. And first come clean up. Sorry. Um, they had a college student actually, I believe she might have been an intern, made the Nike logo as we know and love now. And they actually dropped the word Nike from the brand. The official brand package is just a swoosh now. But you see, from 1964 to 2024, they became well known. So now it's just a swoosh. Everyone knows what the swoosh is. All right. So actually, let me switch right here. So in the Google Classroom, there is a in the marketing section, what is brand voice? So definitely check out this link. It's very detailed, so you can check this out in between now and the next class. And it kind of goes into more detail about what I'm covering tonight. And again, going into this is after you have, you know, some traction, right? You don't need to hold up on starting your business or launching your business idea before you get into marketing and branding and all those different things. But really just wanted to make sure you guys know about it, think about it, and you can do bits and pieces until you continue to grow and scale. All right, so the personality I have here, just a thought, like the personality is at the core of the brand voice and image. So thinking about um literally what is the personality of your brand? Is it kind of really active and like uh peppy, bubbly? Is it monotone? Is it embracing? Is it loving? Is it sweet? Is it rough? Is it, what is it silly? Is it funny? Right? What is the personality of the business, right? Because then that impacts the voice, right? So some categories you should include when outlining your brand personality. I have some here listed: brand identity, brand language, tone of voice, characteristics, right? So literally, when you think of some of the top brands, right, all of these play a role, right? And I have here a picture of Legos because I think like it's a pretty interesting visual here because there's so many personalities that are with Legos. Pharrell actually just did a movie. I don't know if you guys follow Pharrell, but he did a Lego movie, a Lego documentary of his life. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, these are kind of the some of the building blocks of your brand personality, right? So by brand identity, it's kind of like, well, how does your brand identify itself, right? Is it is it sporty? Is it medical? Is it serious? Is it funny? Brand language, right? So how do you actually how does the brand actually talk, right? Is it found at the identity? It's like, yeah, what is the language about, right? Is it techie? Are you always is the brand something like a Microsoft or Apple, where they're like, yeah, our processes are 8.5% faster than last year? Or is it something like a Klondike bar, where it's like, yum, eat it, right? Tone of voice and characteristics. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'd encourage you guys to also go on YouTube, like just YouTube different commercials of brands that you like or brands that inspire you, and compare and contrast the personality of the different brands, how they communicate, what their tone is, what are the characteristics. All right. So with that, we're going to create a brand, right? So what I mean by that is we're going to look at similar to what we did with the perfect pitch. You're going to take one of these items, put together a brand package, right? Come up with a name, a description of the brand personality, and a tagline. So those three things, right? So um, we could do breakout rooms. You guys could do it as in groups, get some interaction going, right? So you can pick anyone. So as a group, you guys could say, hey, let's do the mountain bike, let's do the soda company, or either one. Um, just want you guys to get some practice on thinking about how you get these together. All right, so mm, just swapping some folks around here. All right. All right, so give you guys like 10 minutes or so, but if you're done early, you could hop back out. All right. Any questions? Are we good? Okay, so group three, you guys are done first. Nigda, you wanna well, you and your partner, you guys could take turns. I'm not sure how you guys broke it down, but you guys could go first.
Okay. So we ended up doing sunglasses, and our brand was called Comforte, and I'm gonna let my partner do our description.
So our description was that Comforte is a luxurious brand that brings a familial sense of comfort, relaxation, and meditation.
And our tagline or slogan was excellence at its finest.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. I like that. All right. Group one.
Hello. So we did the winter coats, and the name for the brand is FrostGuard. And the description is FrostGuard provides high quality winter coats that keep you warm without sacrificing on your signature style. And our coats are designed with thermal technology and premium materials to withstand the harshest winter conditions.
Our brand personality is warm, stylish, and reliable. And warmth never looks so cool. And then our tagline is guard against the cold.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. You guys are rocking it. All right, group two. What you got? What you got?
All right. That was my group. So we also did the winter coats. Our branding was Puffers with a Z. Um, so what we wanted to do was provide quality coats, but also stylish in the winter. What was it our um personality or brand personality was fun and comedic, and our tagline was look cool, not cold.
Nice. Nice play on words there. Awesome. So you all did great. Everyone understood the assignment. And I love how you guys all cater to your product and based on the category you were in, you guys either for group one, you guys got a bit more technical, right? Folks like to when people are shopping for coats, they do care about that. Like, what are some of the details here of this coat product? Where with the sunglasses, it's like folks just want to look cool, right? We just want to look cool. Um, and the other spin that you guys had on group two. So yeah, I mean, this is a portion of what your final assignment is going to be. So the final assignment for this course is going to be a presentation, right? So the presentation should have some of these elements in there, right? You're going to have a longer time period. It's not going to be an elevator pitch. It's going to be a presentation. So like a literal PowerPoint slideshow that walks us through the brand that you're going to flesh out for your final pitch. So most of the times folks just build on top of what you started in fundamentals. So you'll take what you did with your elevator pitch and now go deeper, right? So you guys did this in like 10 minutes. Some of you did it in like 6. So yeah, so just take note, right? We are looking for you to flesh out your fundamentals business, create a brand around it, right? And think about how do you want to present it, right? Um, I know there wasn't enough time to do a logo for this little quick exercise, but overall, end of course, 4 weeks from now, think about it. Like, what's going to be that visual representation of your brand? How do you describe it? How do you speak to your audience? I think you guys all did a great job of aligning the brand characteristic or personality with your taglines. So great job. Um, take note of what you just did because this should be a part of your final presentation as well. All right, so we'll take a little break here. We'll do, let me see, where's my break slide? Um, ah, here we go. We'll do a 10-minute break. All right, so we could come, well, Yeah, we'll do 12 minutes just to make it a whole number. So see you guys at 7:50. All right. All right, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Oh, why am I commercial?
With Plymouth Rock, I never wonder if I'm covered for home and auto.
More savings, more coverage.
I was so excited when I heard this sandwich was back. I was like, Cloud 9. 2 words, Cloud 9. What's up? This is Mike.
And this is Celia.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich
Is the symphony of flavors. You can always count on that crispy, tender, juicy chicken, and it's got pickled jalapenos, and it's so good.
My favorite part is the pimento cheese. Topped off with the honey, it all comes together perfectly. I like the original.
I like the spicy chicken fillet, but either way,
You're getting a winner.
real customers paid for their testimonials.
I was so excited when I heard this sandwich.
All right. So jumping into yet another branded commercial here. Sure, you all either seen or heard of Chick-fil-A. The original video I had was actually the breakfast biscuit, but gotta figure my slides out. So marketing, right? So we talked about branding, right? What's the purpose of marketing? I guess from branding and marketing do go together and kind of with or under each other, but branding is more so image, voice. What specifically would be like the marketing goal? You guys can come off mute or drop it in the chat.
I think
All right, Sting just said
connects you.
advertising.
Marketing connects you with your customers, whether it be through like media or something tangible that they could have on that advertises or promotes your product.
Mm-hmm. Sting to put in the chat, advertising, getting more customers. Any other thoughts on like the specific purpose behind marketing?
I mean, it could be
Presenting your product.
promotions.
Mm-hmm.
It could
Sorry,
be
go ahead.
promotion. It could be like promotions, like influencer promotions and stuff like that, to get like the influencers to want your stuff, and then they like send it out to their target audiences and stuff.
Yeah, definitely those are some ways, some channels, right? Some different marketing channels. In the chat, we got presenting your product to your target audience through the use of things like commercials, persuade people to buy or use your product or service, getting your business out there and recognized. Awesome. Great answers. And yeah, who's that? Milena, I don't know if you saw these slides already, but he even had persuade in here. But yes, all of those add up to it, right? So I just have one of the primary goals of marketing is to persuade customers or businesses by either changing their perspective of a brand, product, or service, persuading them to purchase, or feel motivated, tempted to purchase a product or service. So while the brand is a representation of the business, the brand is like the representation of the business. How do you show up? How do you speak? How do you look? Marketing is what attempts to drive action, right? So the bigger, like if we just put marketing as like what its goal is to drive action. You want something to happen because someone's seen what you said, someone heard your commercial, or a friend told them about you because they saw something, right? So the brand plays a piece because the branding is the voice and the image, the personality. The marketing is what are you doing with that voice? What are you doing with that image? How do you actually now create your content, right? So marketing brand is a piece that works with marketing. But I guess marketing is the bigger action umbrella, how you put all this stuff to get your customers, right? All right, so I want you guys to write out all right. So to market effectively, right? One thing we want to think about is like what is your place in the market, right? We could use what's called a SWOT analysis, which is stands for strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. And there's also another analysis we could use. But we want to define your target audience. We want to write SMART goals, analyze your strategies, set your budget. How much is this stuff going to cost, right? So the SWOT analysis is used to do a little bit of discovery about your business and about your competitors. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Right? So you would literally, one way people do it is they draw like a square and create a segment, two segment lines, one vertical, one horizontal to make quarters. And then in one, you put your strengths, and on the opposite, you put your weaknesses. And then on one side, you put your opportunities, the other side, you put your threats, right? And by writing these out, you can, by using that visual, you can then plan around that, right? You want to play to your strengths, right? You want to make sure you're considering your weaknesses and either build them up, right? Turn your weaknesses into strengths. You want to look at the opportunities, right? And take advantage of the opportunities. And you want to plan response to the threats, right? So thinking about let's say the brands that you guys just did earlier, right? The sunglasses and the winter coat. As a brand, a strength might be, let's say for one of the winter coats, like, hey, we have a material that no one else has, right? We invented a new material for these coats, right? And they're super waterproof, super windproof. No one else has it. A weakness might be something like, well, we don't have a solution for having a hoodie. So we just have a collar, but no hoodie. Opportunity might be, hey, there's a, well, your strength a lot of times feeds your opportunities, right? So if you have an exclusive material, the opportunity is to take advantage of that and share that with everyone. Hey, we have this exclusive material. A threat could be, hey, this other brand is working to make a material that does what our material does, right? So it's really just thinking it through, writing it down so you can have it organized and you can start to plan around that. How are you going to execute? And then your marketing coming from this will want to speak to your strengths and would want to take advantage of your opportunities. So this definitely works towards the greater business plan, doing your SWOT analysis. Have you guys heard of target audience? Like how would you what are some ways you can find your target? How do you find your target audience? Any thoughts on that?
You can you want to know who your product is most likely going to appeal to, and that will most likely be your target audience.
Yep. So who's it gonna appeal to? But how would you find out who it appeals to?
You could look at statistics and like studies for like your specific brand. Like for example, if you're selling coats, you could look at like coat statistics, who's buying coats and what areas are they buying coats. That's where you could like kind of target like that area. Like if it was like, let's say New Jersey is like really prone to buying coats or whatever, you could like target your business in New Jersey. And then if it said like African Americans and Hispanic people are like the majority of people that make up like people who buy a lot of coats, then you could say, okay, I'm gonna use like I'm gonna try to do something that pulls that crowd into my like into my product and stuff like that.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, definitely. You guys are leaning into it, right? So data collection, validation with that data. Um, don't forget what we did in fundamentals though, right? Starting with the why. So you do want to align, so your target audience should align with your why. So why are you doing what you're doing? And then look at the data that supports or that feeds into that, right? So maybe a lot of times businesses are working off some kind of inspiration that you have. So using the coats as an example, it might be, man, when I was a kid, there was no great winter coats. All the great winter coats were for adults, right? So I want to make coats for kids. Or maybe it's you want to make an affordable coat because all the warm, waterproof coats were like $600. And like, I think we should be able to get a nice warm winter coat for less than $600. Right. And then you start to work out from your why and do the data pull to say, is this a valid idea? Do a lot of people want lower costing winter coats or is it just me? Right. So that's kind of how you want to frame your path. Um, Start with your why and then find out, is it just me? Or is there more people that will like this solution as well? And you can do that with polling. You could start with asking friends and family. You could then take it to social media, do a poll, and start gathering that data. And what you want to start to identify are some of these components, right? What is the age groups that you're catering to? What are the genders you're catering to? Incomes, right? What's the motivation behind your target audience? What are the problems you're solving for? How can you fix that or be of service, right? And this piece here on the problems, this goes back to your value proposition canvas, right? In there, it talked about the pain points of the customer and like what you're actually going to do to alleviate that pain. That's that problem solving piece, right? Um, when you solve a problem, like that in and of itself is core to your marketing, right? That's core to the word of mouth that's going to happen, right? So when you solve a real problem for an audience of people, now you become a solution that's shared, right? Um, I don't know if you guys could believe this, but Google wasn't always around for for us, right? Back in the day, it was a brand new thing, and it was like, oh, just Google it. They literally had a campaign. It was like, just Google it, right? When they're spreading the word about this great new search engine, Google. You could just Google it. But it was solving a problem because on the internet, before Google, you couldn't access or find web pages super easy that solved what you're looking for. And similar to that, you have other companies like trying to think another example from Google, but it could be something like Chick-fil-A, right? Chick-fil-A's entire menu is focused on chicken, right? They specifically don't do beef. There's a bunch of burger joints and Chick-fil-A, yeah, we're just gonna do chicken. That's gonna be our core product. People want good chicken options, right? Instead of just uh one chicken sandwich on the menu. So it all adds up to that, right? What problem are you solving? But then you can break out your target audience based on a combination of what was your initial why that you're solving for? What inspired you? Why are you doing this? How can you validate that the solution you're coming up with makes sense to other people, right? You could do polling, ask questions, and then really lock in on the problem you're solving in in doing that. All right. So once you've answered those things, right, you want to set SMART goals. So this applies both to your business plan, but also to your marketing strategy. Meaning, for your business, you might have a high level goal that might be revenue based, right? Or it might be needs based. You might be like, hey, we want to help 1,000 kids, or we want to make sure that everyone who doesn't have a coat gets one, right? That might be like your business goal. Then your marketing might be like, how can we reach these people, right? How can we reach 10,000 people? So what can I do to market and get the word out that will reach the people that I'm targeting, right? So SMART goals stands for specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time bound. So to add to my goal of how do I reach these people, yeah, it's like, who am I reaching? How am I reaching them? What's a realistic number that I could aim for? And what's the time period, right? Am I going to try to reach 10,000 people in a day? Or should I give myself a bigger opportunity and say, I want to reach 10,000 people this year or in the next year, the next 12 months, right? So, why do I have two of these? All right, so let me jump down to, so these are just some examples of each, right? So when you're setting a SMART goal, an example of a specific goal is, real numbers, real deadlines versus I want more visitors, right? There's no actual numbers or deadlines there. How many visitors do you want and by when? Measurable, right? You don't want to hide behind buzzwords like brand engagement or social influence, right? Make sure your goal is trackable, right? So they're saying like, don't say, oh, I just want to create a buzz, or I just want to get the word out. Like, no, how can you track that goal, right? Again, sticking with numbers. Don't try to take over the world in one night, right? Work towards a goal that is challenging but possible. Very important. If you set unattainable goals, it can be daunting and discouraging. A lot of folks just give up because like, I didn't hit my goal. And this is not worth it. So you want to set small goals along the way, right? Sometimes those small goals might be things that could be done in one day. So it might be like, write this, call this person, talk to my aunt, right? Whatever those small goals might be, include those and build out your plan. And as you attain the small goals, write some new ones, right? So one strategy is like writing the end goal first and then filling that in with all the little steps it's going to take to get to that end goal, and then you knock out those small goals. It's just realistic, right? Be honest with yourself, know what you and your team are capable of. Sometimes you are the team, but if you have a partners, awesome, the more the merrier, right? Don't forget any hurdles you may have to overcome. Give yourself a deadline, right? Don't keep pushing towards the goal you might hit someday, right? So these are just some examples of setting SMART goals, some things to plan around and plan for. Any questions, I guess, about this last segment about SMART goals? All right. All right, so you guys mentioned a little bit some of the marketing tactics, right? Someone mentioned influencer sponsored giveaways, paid. So this paid advertising. Oh, sorry. So I just have three here as an example. Paid advertising is one of the most common, right? Because you can literally pay to have your ad or your commercials shown somewhere. And nowadays, what I meant earlier about technology making it easy, if you have a Facebook account, you can do ads on Facebook. If you have an Instagram account, you can do ads on Instagram, right? All you got to do is pay them, right? You could have $5 and buy a Instagram campaign. So the way a lot of the digital campaigns work on these platforms is they're going to cater to however many people you can afford to. So if you only have $5, they might say, well, we can show this to probably 100 people, right? and you will choose the target demographic. So you could choose the age group, the gender, the location, if you have those specific targets, or you could just say, hey, everyone in my neighborhood, show this ad to everyone that's located in this city. You have $100, you can get more people, get it in front of more people, right? The more money you can put into it, the more the paid advertising goes. Giveaways is always good, if you can do that. One creative way to do giveaways is to partner with other businesses, right? So sometimes that definitely helps. Or sometimes you might make that investment, right? So folks definitely have done things like bought a Google Chrome or an Apple Watch, something that people will be excited to receive. So you might spend $100 or so. I think the little Google Chrome speaker is like $50. So let's say you spend $50 on that little speaker, and then now your advertising is, hey, visit our website, enter the raffle for a chance to win a Google speaker. So now you have people coming to your website, right? So these are some ways you might use a giveaway to drive traffic, right? They might say, sign up for our newsletter to get a chance to win the speaker. Nowadays, when I go to websites where maybe I'm gonna buy something, it'll say something like, sign up for the newsletter and sign up for the text messages, marketing by text message, and we'll give you 15% off your first purchase, right? The reason companies do this is because it's a very powerful thing for you to give them your email to say, hey, I'm signing up literally to receive advertising from you or marketing from you. Or I'm giving you my cell phone number so you can text message me deals and promotions in the future, right? So this is a very powerful way for your brand to build out your audience, right? So a lot of companies do a discount code if you give them your email, things like that. Influencer sponsor, of course, if an influencer has the audience that you're trying to get to, that could also be very good leverage, right? Because they're now going to their audience of however many. They might have 5,000 or 5 million followers or people that are inspired by them. And if they go to them and say, hey, Snigda's books are the best, buy your books from her, and her books, every book you buy from her, a child gets a free book. They're at least going to listen to what the influencer is saying to them, because they care about the influencer, thus they care about what that person's saying. So definitely another option if you can get that. And sometimes the influencer sponsor helps in a way where if they believe in your product, like first you sell to them and say, hey, I don't even want you to buy my product. I just want you to tell other people about my product. So sometimes you can work out clever ways to get an influencer. If what you're doing, your why, right? If your why aligns with their why, and they're like, man, yeah, Michael, I love tacos and smoothies, and yeah, empanadas, I'm all about it. So yeah, I'll tell my people about your product, or like, you know what I mean? You could actually see which influencers align with your brand, align with your why. Just ask them, say, hey, look, I'm a new business. I'm just trying to get something going here. Would you mind, you know, doing a free campaign to get things going? So just some thoughts and ideas around that. But if no one's going to do it for free, you're going to need a budget, right? So, and I'm running through this because we only have about 15 minutes, but if you need me to slow down or stop at anything, definitely let me know. All right. So when setting your budget, you want to prioritize what you need to spend money on, outline how much each costs, calculate the potential return on investment. So kind of goes back to the example of getting that speaker, that giveaway item for $50. Say, okay, I might spend $50 on this, but I think a good amount of people are going to be interested, right? If I get 20 people to sign up for my newsletter and my products are $50 each, hey, if one person buys something, it at least paid for itself. And if more people end up buying from my email campaign sign up, I would have made a return on my investment of $50 on a Google speaker giveaway. So you always want to think about that, right? If you're going to spend money to do something for the business, how does that add to getting a return for your business? And this last bullet here, your network is your net worth. Who's heard that term before? If you have, drop a Y in the chat. If you heard someone say your network is your net worth before. If not, y'all could just drop an N in the chat. So Layla, you've heard it. Great. What does it mean? What does it mean that your network is your net worth? Can you help those that haven't heard that?
So it means in a way like your network is your net, like kind of like your reputation is like how much like you, I don't know how to put it to words, like your reputation,
Try.
how,
Give one example.
like, okay, if I have a coat business and I have a lot of people know my business, and a lot of people have positive results about my product, like the way I'm able to connect with my customers, the way I'm able to connect with potential partners, and like the way I'm able to connect with people is ultimately how much I'm going to be able to make, in a sense. Like the way I connect is how much I could potentially earn. If I'm connecting with a lot of people, if people have positive things to say about me and my product, my business, then the potential amount of money that I can earn increases a lot.
Yeah. You're definitely on it. Yeah. So if people think positively of you and you're connected with a lot of people that think that way, yes, absolutely. When you say, hey, I got a new product, people are like, oh man, this is awesome. Right. But if you have a bad reputation, people are just not going to pay attention. Also, another way this term applies, right? Your network being your net worth. The more people that you know and the more circles that you're in, the more collaborations you can have, right? So some ways that I use my network is like when I was getting into photography, I started going to networking events and just taking pictures, right? I wasn't even getting paid for it. I would just bring my camera and take pictures. And then someone would be like, hey, are you a photographer? Yes, I am. And I'll have my business cards and give them my business card. I did that for like a year, right? And eventually people started hitting me up. Oh, hey, we need a photographer for this thing. Hey, we need a photographer for this thing. It got to a point where I was no longer trying to get people to know that I was a photographer. I had been networking, aka going to events, showing up, meeting people, giving out my business card. And eventually enough people knew that I was a photographer to where people were just calling me up, asking me if I was available to photograph their event. That came from networking, right? So same thing for your business, right? If you're trying to get into any area, you should be networking in those circles, whether it's other people that share your passion, people that could be potential future customers or partners or clients of yours. You want to get into those circles to understand how those circles work, right? How do they operate? How do people decide on something, right? So for like Michael, who's like looking in the food space, yeah, like you should be going to, I don't know, food truck shows, taking cards, seeing how do these things operate? How do food brands launch? How do how does this work, right? So the networking piece is partially learning, but also connecting with people. So now when you're ready to launch your business or start something, you can reach out to that same network and say, hey, I met you at this event and you said you did, I don't know, this thing. I'm launching my brand. Could we work together? Or would you be interested in my services, right? So that's where the network comes in. Also, the network that you develop can potentially help connect you to someone you need, right? So you might have built a network of other business individuals or business minded individuals or people that are further along the path you're trying to go down. And you might say to them, hey, I'm ready to start, but I don't have a good accountant. So your network might say, oh, I've been in business 10 years, 20 years. I have a great accountant. Use my accountant, right? things like that. So your network is what's going to help you along the way and help you grow, help you get guidance from time, help you get support, direction. Um, even like your family, right? If your family knows what you're passionate about and you have good support from your family, that oftentimes those are your first customers, right? So sharing with them, hey, family, this is what I've been working on. I'm really passionate about it. I'm excited to share with you. Will you share it with others, right? So all of these things are facets of networking, whether it's family, friends, but also new groups of people that are aligned with your passion and purpose. So definitely think about that. It doesn't mean you have to speak publicly or get on a stage, but it does mean you might need to do some traveling, right? You want to get to the places where people are trying to work on the similar things you're trying to work on, because oftentimes someone that is accomplished, they're motivated to help someone that's new to the space that's hungry to accomplish as well, right? I heard Steve Harvey say, you know, you know, and a lot of folks that like they're now in a place of wealth, they're like, they would rather someone come to them and ask advice versus coming to them and ask for money or ask for a sponsorship like right out the gate, right? So that is to say, like, I don't know, if you met someone that's in the field you're trying to get into, and they're really successful, and you ask them, hey, this is my situation. What would you advise is the best next step? How do I overcome this challenge that I'm having? I'm having this challenge. I'm here in the process, but I'm kind of stuck here. Well, how would you advise me to get unstuck? Right. So think about that, right? And really think about approaching folks that could be mentors, or even if it's a one-time thing, you ran into somebody that it's like, oh man, this is a person in my field that is really doing great. What is my one question I would ask them? The one piece of advice that I would ask them for. So yeah, I always harp on this last point because it's very, very important. S.O.A.R as a nonprofit, we've gotten grants based on the networks that the board members and Rosie has built, right? Because Rosie got involved with Roselle, New Jersey community. The community in turn started supporting S.O.A.R because like, oh, S.O.A R is giving back to the community. S.O.A R wants to help students. Oh, then I want to help S.O.A R since S.O.A R is helping students, right? Um, so networks are something that you definitely want to get good at when you're as you're building out your business and trying to grow it. All right, so I have this slide just really to walk you through what I talked about earlier about the sorry, one back, about how the digital uh marketing stuff works. So this is just a screenshot of like the output or the data from a marketing campaign that I ran for S.O.A.R. So it's telling me, I forgot how much money I put on it. I think I did like $50. We had um an event coming up, Rock the Block, and I think I paid like $50 and it reached 1,116 people, 57.8% women, 42.2% men, majority between the ages of 18 to 34, located in a 12-mile radius of Roselle, New Jersey. It was open to pretty much any age group, 18 to 65 plus. As interest, I put community issues, nonprofit organization, volunteering, motivation, youth, high school shopping, pop-up retail, student. So this is just giving you a glimpse as like, hey, like these tools that are available via Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, they allow you to digitally lock in on target audiences. So that's why it's important to identify your target audiences, because when you spend money on it, you want to be super specific to make sure that you're spending your money well. Oh, it was $40, not $50. So yeah, even less. So I put $40. It was a 3-day campaign. It didn't so it only got 4 clicks, right? So that's $40 for clicks. So, right, 10%. Let's say a 10% ROI here. It got 8 post engagements, 4 link clicks, 3 post reactions. 1 person saved it, right? So $40 got me 4 clicks. You might say, $400 might get me 40 clicks, right? So you could start to even map out based on your keywords and what you used, how much return am I going to get on my spend? And marketing is often like that, right? You might reach a lot of people, but only a certain segment of them are going to react to what you're saying or what you're showing them. And what you want to do is think about, okay, 10%, of, I got, sorry, $40 got me 4 clicks. Can $40 get me 100 clicks? Do I need to change my messaging? So part of the marketing is working on your messaging, your visuals, and seeing if saying things differently can result in better results. And this is where having a mentor could really help, right? Is there someone in the same space and that could help you fine tune your message? Sometimes it's looking at the competition. What's the competition saying, and how are they communicating? And does it seem like they're getting a good response from their messaging here? So this will be one of those things where you look at it, you study it, and then you refine, right? So out of the 1,116 people that it reached, 4 people clicked on it. And if your goal was to get link clicks, right, we want to do some refinement on that. Any questions about this? This is a digital campaign that I did for S.O.A.R a couple years back. Make sense? Okay. All right. So we touched on this briefly. So marketing channel. The marketing channel is literally, the place that your audience is. Are they on Facebook? Are they on TikTok? Are they on Snapchat? Are you emailing them? That's another channel, right? Text messaging, that's another channel. Flyers in your neighborhood, that's another channel, right? So all of these will be considered marketing channels, right? You guys travel around the city, you see billboards, that's another channel, right? So these are some questions you ask yourself, right? Like, where do I start? Like, if I chose one channel to begin with, what would that be? It might be word of mouth. It might be, who do I know that might be interested? Do I know some people that might be interested first to be my first customers? Do I need to make some phone calls? Do I need to print some flyers out? What marketing channel should I start with, right? Should I do multiple, or should I just focus on a few of them, right? Which channels are best for my business or for what I'm trying to accomplish right now, right? So these are some of the questions that you would ask yourself to then decide, all right, I'm going to go with this kind of channel and start there. So I would say going along with your goals, this kind of follows up with your goals, right? Make sure that you're tracking your marketing effect. So if you're using digital platforms, like I shared, they're going to give you those readouts. But if you're handing out flyers, right, a lot of times you'll see companies say, "How did you hear about us?" Right? So you might ask the same question if someone calls you up on your phone because you have flyers with their phone number, call me to do XYZ, and that's everywhere. You might say, "How did you hear about us?" They'll say, "Oh, I saw you on LinkedIn, or I saw you on Instagram, or I saw a flyer," right? It's good to note that because you want to know what's effective, right? So if you did flyers in the street, you did emails, and you did social media posts, and everyone that contacted you said, "I saw your flyer," that might say to you, I guess I should just keep doing flyers for a while because no one's called me from my social media posts or from the emails. Let me use those for another time, or wait till I have more budget for that. What's your audience size, right? How do you measure this? So based on your business, your audience size might be transactional, but engagement wise, like how many people are engaging with you, right? When you send email campaigns, you can see how many people open those emails. And when you do social media posts, as I just showed on the other side, you can see how many people clicked on those. How many sales are coming as a result of your marketing? Well, shouldn't be how much yeah. So if you, again, like if we spent $100 in marketing, did that yield you any sales, right? So if it's not yielding any sales, you do want to adjust your marketing strategy a bit. But also you want to just track that so you know what's your running costs, right? So companies like Apple spend a lot of money on marketing, right? And they leverage that against their sales and say, hey, for every $1 million we spend, we might make $5 million, right? So how many people are sharing your brand, right? It's good to understand, are people sharing? Are people telling other folks? Or is it just they buy something or they look at your product and they don't say anything, don't share, right? You know you have success if people are talking about your product or your business. That's a good indicator. What's your brand's impression on people, right? So how does it make them feel? Or what actions does the brand inspire, right? So in summary, say marketing, one of the primary goals of marketing communication is to persuade customers or businesses, while branding, personality is at the core of the brand voice and image, right? And they do work hand in hand. Develop your personality, which dictates the voice and the image, and then that's how you persuade people, right? If your target audience likes funny, you might want to have a brand personality that caters towards humor, right? If your target audience is serious, like the coats, like I just want something to keep me warm. You might want to have a brand personality that's like speaking to the facts, right? Getting straight to the point, right? So it really depends. And these things you can play with it until you get it right. So be memorable in a good way. All right. So we do have the class survey in the chat. It's 8:32. I think I got right to the razor's edge there. So you can take a moment to fill out the class survey. Drop a D in the chat when you're done. Right. All right. Give everyone a few moments. And we do have a special announcement once everyone's done, real quick. All right, is that everybody? I think we're in like one more. All right, so top scholar. So I know you guys might have remembered we talked about there being a top scholar. So there's a top scholar from each cohort, right? So for the fundamentals cohort, this was not easy because you guys were all excellent and ended it with a bang with those elevator pitches. So the scholar, the way that the selection is made, just from like the criteria wise, it is based on attendance, well, a combination, attendance, participation, um, contributions in the class, cameras on, mics on, talking, but also the assignments being handed in, and as well as the final presentation. So all these things being considered, the individual that edged everyone out just a little bit, the one individual that we landed on is Michael Alvarez. Congratulations, Michael, on being top scholar for this says spring, I apologize. For the fall 2024 fundamentals cohort. So Michael, you do get a financial gift as well, right? So so the announcement is now, but you all will get everything in hand at the gala if you can make it. If not, we'll mail that out to you. There is another scholar selection to be made. We might announce it Thursday or wait till the gala, but top scholar definitely is the one that we lead with. We do have two other scholars that we usually announce, but at the moment, congrats, Michael, on being top scholar for the fundamentals cohort. But it's on, y'all. It's on for the advanced, so it's still anyone's game for advanced. All right.
And if I could
Absolutely,
add
absolutely.
to what Professor JR said, it was tight. Deliberating on the top scholars. You all did such an amazing job in fundamentals. I mean, I think you've heard it many times. You are, one of the most engaged groups we've had, really taking in all the information. I see you all like taking notes, really dedicated and committed. So just wanted to say congratulations to Michael. And as Professor Jared said, yeah, we're in the advance. Let's, finish strong. So congratulations, and all of you should give yourselves a pat on the back. And thank you all for being a part of the series.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so that concludes the first class for advanced. If anyone has any questions, we can hang around a little bit. Otherwise, you are free to go. Michael, you could save your speech for the gala. Hope you can make it in next month.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you. Take care.
Have a good night. You're welcome.